Hello everybody, welcome back to Rogue Reefing and welcome back to another month of Prehistoric Kingdom Dev Diaries. Another month has gone by and I somehow, of course, always miss that it's the end of the month. I always forget. And Prehistoric Kingdom, if you are unaware, if you haven't been following the news, just dropped probably their biggest update yet with animal breeding, enrichment items, and the list is so much longer than I could even, begin to list off here. But they released a dev diary, which I was not expecting because typically they take a break from these after a big update that has come out. But I would assume, most of this they've been teasing over the course of the Patreon campaigns that they're doing, which if you're not a member of their Patreon, I highly support it. I highly recommend it there. You'll get behind the scenes access to pretty much everything. And so these sort of videos here, these breakdowns monthly, you won't have to wait for these. You just get them, as they come. I don't make videos on those, but the information that they're releasing is small enough and bite-sized, enough where you don't have to worry about, being overloaded by everything. All things said, this is pretty short for a dev diary. So we're going to jump in here. And again, they just released the new update here, update 15. And there's some things that they missed. And, first of all, if you don't know, from this past update, we have Gallimimus and we have Oviraptor in there. Both of these dinosaurs will be going into parks in the series. Both of these probably will be going into Attenborough Springs or Attenborough Gardens, which, has only had 2 episodes in that series. Partly, I was waiting for these guys to come out. I had a feeling both of them would make great fits to that park. So if you're into that series, definitely go to the links down below and check that out there for you as well. But yeah, just kind of talking about the state of development here, you can see back when they first came out with Prehistoric Kingdom in the alpha version, this is what it looked like compared to now with update 15 with this last update. And holy crap, I just have to say, this is incredible to see. You can obviously see the similarities there. You can see, we have the cypress trees, or cypress-esque trees. We even have the egg mounds there, and I assume this is a Gallimimus. This pretty much looks like Gallimimus that you would see in Jurassic Park, but I genuinely don't know what shifted with the dev team, to go from this. Was this always the plan? And then, they just keep enhancing and getting better and better and better with every single update. I cannot recommend this game enough. That said, they did say that they missed a couple of things, namely the animal head IK and the interspecies threat displays, though that can technically happen right now during courtship behaviors. But that said, they are going to be releasing a update 15.1 sometime soon. So for those of you that don't know, the dev team is pretty small, and so they try to get everything in there that they can, but they are trying to get everything into there as quickly as possible regardless. They say by the end of September, a few weeks away, so not that short of a wait, all things considered. The big reason though for this update is the road ahead update 16. So update 16, we already know is going to have a few key features. First and foremost is going to be the vivariums here. And this is probably the thing that I am most excited for. They call them 3 different things here. They say vivariums, then they say terrariums or mini exhibits, or I guess previously known as mini exhibits and, stuff like that. But they have the 3 big ones up here. They have amphibious, arboreal, and terrestrial. Now, amphibious here, for those of you that know my thoughts on this from previous videos, those of you that see the name of the channel and can probably guess, my hope is that the amphibious comes with two flavors, and one of them is fully aquatic, or, you know, the other is semi-aquatic. But from this picture, it's semi-aquatic. So this is your animals like Tiktaalik, which we already know has been confirmed. That's the ancestor to all vertebrate land mammals. Tiktaalik was the quintessential meme of the animal, the lizard that first washed up on land and, you know, decided to give land a shot to see what it had. But I hope that if amphibious does not include fully aquatic, I hope that they will consider other things in the future, maybe adding a fourth category, like a fully aquatic category, so that we can have things like coelacanth, or, you know, not something as big as like an ichthyosaur or something like that, but trilobites, ammonites, you know, all sorts of things lived in the ocean. The ocean has been, you know, the foundation of life forever, and I think that by not having a fully aquatic section here kind of misses the point. But again, that's just my thoughts, and this is just, you know, reporting on the dev diary here. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments as well. You know, do you want a fully aquatic in the future? Do you think that they're going to add it, or are you happy with, you know, the selection that we have here now? They're showing off here another animal that they've shown before, which is Yichi. This is the shortest name, the shortest scientific name in the entire animal kingdom. If you did not know, it is just 4 letters long. Yichi was a flying reptile similar to Microraptor and Archaeopteryx here. So they said that, you know, without vivariums, we would not consider including animals like Microraptor, Archaeopteryx, and Yichi in the game. So that said, they do go into, you know, the design and the AI for these animals here. And they say that basically these terrarium animals are going to run on a loop, which means that if you're familiar with Planet Zoo, for example, the butterfly exhibits or the sloth exhibits that they have in the game, this is going to work exactly like those, where the animals are on a loop. They have a track that they follow, and they're not as, you know, I guess I could say fleshed out when it comes to locomotion and having like an AI brain and all of that kind of stuff. You know, they're not going to think and make decisions based on what you put in to their environment. They're just going to be like from point A to point B to point C and then back to point A, and it's going to loop like that forever and ever. They also say that these vivarium animals are not going to be getting babies, which makes sense. You know, I wouldn't expect for Yichi or Tiktaalik to have babies. As cool as that would be, and as, you know, absolutely breathtakingly incredible as the juvenile animals are in the game right now, I wouldn't expect them to do this for vivarium animals. So yeah, you know, no surprise there. But these animals here in these mini aviaries here, they say the old rig hasn't been changed since beta. It's old, it's rigid, and they just needed to update it. So, you know, again, they have a small dev team, but these are some examples of kind of what we're going to be getting. So these are Creative Commons images. I'm pretty sure I've even used these for things that I've built in the game as well. But, you know, you can see this is a semi-aquatic habitat. They have giant fish there. You know, they look like the Mekong catfish, I believe. You know, and the land section there, here we have a Komodo dragon here, fully terrestrial. So you can definitely see where they're coming from with this. I have a feeling, of course, you know, the aquarium stuff is going to come down the line, probably in a DLC or something after full release. So moving on, a very small tidbit here, but this is the first little tidbit I believe that we're getting over vets, diseases, and death here. So in update 16, your animals will now die if they are too sick or too old. Now, that's something that gives me pause because, having series like Paleo Springs, Attenborough Gardens, these are series that have been going on for a long, long time, and the animals in that park, in game, are super, super old and genuinely need to die probably at some point. They're getting up there. They can't just keep breeding and keep living forever and ever and ever. I would love to have an age system in here, and that's pretty much exactly what we're getting. They're going to be introducing diseases though. Now you can see it right there. You can see the lovely little thing for 2020. Yep. But they are introducing a quarantine bay module. What that looks like, I don't know. What that feels like, I don't know. All I know is that we can see a Parasaurolophus here in the background with, these are modular pieces, little shelving units with presumably a rug there or a tarp that it's being laid on. Is this little square the quarantine bay? I don't know. I think it's probably going to be something like the hatcheries in game now, or the staff buildings where they don't really have interiors to them, but they're saying that if a disease is contagious enough or a serious issue, then we're going to want to move these animals to the quarantine bay and have it stocked with a new medicine resource. How we get that, I don't know. Probably the same way that we get the clothes and apparel for guests to buy in the game, probably just through the logistics like that. Going to be really interesting and going to be really fun probably to deal with. I could also see this being really annoying though if they don't dial this in and have something like, say, Paleo Springs, where all of the animals just die within a year, and then we're basically left with square one there in that park with no animals. So that's going to be something that we're going to have to look at and really sort of squint at for the future to come to try to figure out. Next up, we have flat rides. Again, another really small little thing here. They talked more about this in the January dev diary, but it's going to include things like Ferris wheels, theaters, a tethered balloon that goes straight up and down. So unlike the Jurassic World Evolution 3 balloon that goes around the park, they do say though they would love to include track and tour rides, but their dev team is not that big. It's very expensive to do that kind of stuff. So they'll see how things go. I will not promise anything. I will just say that this dev team has surprised us time and time and time again. But with that said, everybody out there, keep your expectations low. If all we get is a Ferris wheel, a theater, and a tethered balloon ride, that's great. That's more than we had before, and it's more than a lot of games out there have currently. So, I'm excited for those three. I would love to see these in the future, perhaps down the road after 1.0. Maybe they'll add these, maybe they'll add them before. Who knows? But everybody, let's keep our expectations super low, so we can be surprised and be happy about what comes out after that. Staff progression 2.0 is the next thing. So the next thing up that they're wanting to do here is make it so that we can individually train our staff. And you can kind of do this now. You can kind of go and train the staff as a whole. So I can train all the keepers. I can get them all up to 3 stars or 4 stars or whatever. But this is more of a minute management, which I really, really like and I think is definitely needed. So you can see here in this image, it's saying if I promote this staff member from 2 to 3, they gain 2 perks. We also have to pay them $500 a month, and it requires time for them to train to get to level 3. All of this to me makes sense. Perks is an interesting one. I don't know what that is. I don't know how that looks, but I assume with this overhaul here, we're going to be getting more information down the road very, very soon. One of the other things that they're teasing here, though, for update 16 is a new species that I don't believe has been released to the public yet. I believe they sort of mentioned it in previous dev diary. I know they've talked about it for a while now in the Patreon groups, but again, that's all for private eyes, so I won't talk about any of that stuff. But we are actually getting Compsognathus, or Compies if you're a Jurassic Park fan, and these do not look anything like what you are familiar with from the Jurassic Park series. These look pretty much like how they would probably have looked in prehistoric times, and for that I am so excited. I could not be more excited for Compsognathus, and I could not be more excited for Tiktaalik as well. I cannot wait till we get an actual in-game look at that. Yeah, I can't wait. Update 16 is going to be huge, and you know, there's not a lot here in this dev diary here. We got some community spotlights here with the new, you know, Gallimimus and Oviraptors. Absolutely gorgeous images here by Gemini 98. These are absolutely beautiful. You know, we have a Gallimimus here in Japan by Unga, and then we have Sammy Chan 14 Gallimimus laying eggs there. And then I really love this backstage area for presumably Panthera, which subspecies I don't know, by Kaidu or Kadu. Yeah, super excited for that, and I am super excited for everything to come. Again, pretty short dev diary, all things considered, but I will take that after having so many new things to do and to experiment with and play with from update 15. And you know, we have update 15.1 just a few weeks away as well. So with that all said and all done here, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What are you most excited for coming up in update 16? What are you hoping that they tease next in next month's dev diary? If you're not subscribed to the channel, definitely subscribe if you want to stay up with all of this news. I make one of these videos every time they come out with a monthly dev diary, so you know, pretty much once a month. If you like this video, give it a like as well. Again, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I love talking to you guys and having a discussion. That's why I make these videos. And if you want all of these videos as soon as I upload them instead of when they are released to the public, consider becoming a member of the channel. It's like $3 a month, and again, you get all of these videos early. And yeah, so with that said, I just want to say thank you. There's a million things that you could have been doing, but you chose to spend a little bit of that time here with me and watch me go over the dev diary for this past month. So yeah, with that, I will leave it off here, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care for now.